Catastrophe. Chapter 1. Critical Fail. Everyone knows black cats are bad luck, right? In the stories of great legends and heroic champions, you rarely hear about bad luck. You can't just mess up on grand adventures. That doesn't make a legend. It's more of a mistake. No, dear traveler, this is the tale of the most unfortunate band of heroes. You may know them as the Black-Tailed Curse, or the Obsidian Claws, or just simply Catastrophe. You see, everyone knows that black cats are bad luck. What happens when three black-furred catfolk travel together? Well, that's where this unknown legend begins. Long ago, in the lands of the Forgotten, a traveling Jimra woman was traveling south. Jimra, for those who don't know, are the cat-like folk of forgotten lands. Their eyes shine and glow like gemstones, and they can see very well in the dark. This Jimra was named Callie. She had bright blue sapphire-like eyes. Callie was making her way south towards Abzura, the great city of history, when she felt a drop on her nose. Callie glanced up. Thunder clouds were rolling in fast, and shadow and wind. She dashed for cover under trees and pulled her cloak up tighter. She was used to weathering out the roads in the Forgotten Lands, but still. She began to pick up her pace in an attempt to outrun the storm. Ahead of her, Callie saw a light around the bend of the road. As she turned, a traveler's tavern greeted her. She glanced at the wooden sign near the road. The Dragon's Bite. "Okay," Callie whispered. The thunder started roaring more aggressively. Callie dashed to the door of the tavern just as the rain began to pour. As she reached the door, she was already soaked. She grabbed the handle of the door, pulled a little too hard, and the door slammed into her face. She stumbled backward in a daze. "Yikes," she whispered to herself. That was awkward. She looked to her hand. The door handle had also broken off and was resting in her paw. "Divines," she cursed. She stepped forward and heard a thud. Callie glanced down. She had stepped in a bucket. She took a breath and slowly closed her eyes to compose herself. She removed herself from the bucket and tried her best to jab the door handle back into place. The handle slipped to the ground and rolled somewhere out of sight. Callie closed her eyes once more. "Fine," she hissed as the rain beat down on her back. She slipped through the now door-handleless entrance and felt the welcoming warmth of the cozy tavern. The smell of cinnamon and honey filled her nostrils. Also, and most surprisingly, the smell of burnt cloth. She entered to a strange sight. A few humans and dwarves watching as the figure in the middle of the tavern had apparently set his cloak on fire. "Ah!" The stranger spun round, trying his best to put the fire out. As he spun, Callie noticed his glowing indigo eyes and jet-black fur. He was a Jimra, like her, and had somehow set himself on fire. Callie ran to the bartender. "Water!" she called out. "Ah!" The orc bartender looked at her in a daze. "Water!" The orc took a bucket of water and splooshed it all over Callie's face. She gasped for air. "Not me! The guy on fire!" The orc glanced over. "Oh, dang," the orc echoed out. "That's all the water I had." "Ah!" Callie groaned. The Jimra stranger started slamming his back on a nearby pillar, trying to put out the flames on his back. Callie dashed over, removed her soaked cloak, and threw it at the stranger. "What in the—" Callie's cloak covered him over. "Shut up! I'm trying to help!" Callie's cloak began to smolder and smoke itself. When she removed it, the fire was at least out, but her dark cloak had seen better days. The purple-eyed guy was examining his now put-out marks. Phew, thank you. Really, thanks. Sorry, I was trying to heat up my drink, and, well, that happened." The Jimra cracked out his fingers, and sparks flew from his fingertips, with flames dancing on his claws. This Jimra was a mage. And, apparently, a not very good one. No problem. Try to, keep yourself out. Gladly. Callie turned to approach the bar and heard a thud. She glanced down. She had stepped into yet another bucket. She slammed a hand across her face. A slight laugh escaped the lips of the mage. Kelly shot a look back in his direction. "Sorry," he said, looking elsewhere. "Here, let me—" He stepped forward, and his boot went directly onto Callie's tail. She let out a yelp and stared daggers in the mage's direction. He immediately stepped back in surprise. "Sorry, so sorry. Here, let me get water?" the bartender called out. A splash of water went all over Callie's face. "I was able to get some more," he boomed. "Thank you," the cat mage said cautiously. A hush went over the tavern as Callie opened her mouth to speak. "I need a drink." "Looks like you already got one." A laugh came from the corner of the tavern. Callie used every ounce of restraint to not throw a knife in the direction of the heckler. She instead started removing her foot from the bucket with a kick. "Good job putting the wizard out. He was on fire. That was great," the heckler continued. Callie kept her eyes forward and approached the bar one step at a time. "Here." Callie glanced to her left. The mage had taken a spot next to her. "I owe you one. What do you have?" Callie raised an eyebrow. "Get her some water," the heckler called over. "Oh, shut up," Callie roared back. She turned back to the bar and slammed her face down. "What is happening today?" she murmured into the wood. A few coins were placed in front of Callie's lowered head. She looked up at them. The mage Jimra offered them to her freely. "I'm Quill. Sorry today is going blah." Callie finally straightened her posture and stretched. She motioned to the bartender. "Water?" he offered. "No!" "Get me a dragon's breath rum. And don't put the little dragon umbrella thing in it. I can't with those today." "I'll take one too," Quill called over. "With a little umbrella in mind, please." Callie shot him a look. "Really? These drinks are made by the dwarves, said to be frozen flame. Not for anyone this far south." "Meh, I've been wanting to try new things. Plus, sounds exotic. You must be from the east. Not many Gemra in the ashes around Varura." Callie looked at the bar in silence. "Yeah, well, I don't see many mage Gemra either. Plus fire magic? Fur? Isn't that kind of a bad combo?" "I'm still getting the hang of it," Quill said nervously. "And fire magic is like the basic stuff." "Cool. Yeah, in Vlura, we have more than enough heat, so fire magic isn't really needed, you know?" The orc bartender returned with 2 tankards of slightly glowing orange rum. One with a little dragon umbrella. "Drink up!" Callie took hers and took a deep drink from the tankard. It warmed her bones and made her feel instantly warm. The tankard slipped from her hands and splashed onto her front. "What the—" In surprise, the bartender splashed Callie with a bucket of water. That's it. Callie's eyes glowed striking blue as she turned around and lunged with her claws drawn across the tavern to the uncontrollable laughter in the corner. She slammed the heckler into the wall. She was greeted, to her surprise, by emerald glowing eyes full of tears of laughter. Another Jimra with black fur and green eyes was her heckler. That was amazing. "Oh, shut up. Hey, bartender, I'll take 3 more waters, please. Direct delivery to her face." Callie drew her knife from her boot and was ready to throw down when she heard a thud. She looked down. A bucket. The green-eyed Jimra started rolling on the ground in absolute laughter and delight. Everyone in the tavern joined his laughter in glee. Callie was used to having slightly bad luck. She's a black Jimra, so it's fine. Part of her blood. But this was different. With her bad luck, plus Quill's bad luck, and now this third black-furred Jimra, The bad luck was being multiplied. Callie's pride had never taken such a blow. She turned and took a step towards the bar. The heckler finally stood and opened his mouth to make another comment, but it never came. Callie slammed a fist into the green-eyed Jimra's stomach. "Oh!" And the whole bar winced in pain at the sight. The heckler fell into a ball on the ground with wide eyes. "Hey, barkeep," Callie called out. "Get this guy some water." Water!" Quill exclaimed. Callie looked to the bar. Quill had flames flying from his mouth. He was breathing fire. Dang it. He drank the dragon's breath. The orc returned from the back and threw a bucket of water in Callie's direction. Callie dodged to the right. The airborne bucket slammed into the heckler's face. Callie was stumbling to regain her composure. "Get Quill some water!" "What?" the orc asked. "Water! Water! Water!" "Okay." The orc vanished into the back once more. Flames danced from Quill's mouth as he ran around the tavern like a fire-breathing maniac. Callie attempted to tackle Quill, but as soon as she was mid-air, she ran face first into a barrel that had rolled in front of her, pushed from a fleeing dwarf. Callie collapsed to the ground, and she arose with her ears ringing and vision blurry. As she gained her composure, 2 emerald-glowing eyes came into focus. "I do expect an apology." The heckler came into view, sitting on the barrel. Quill was now behind the bar, trying to extinguish the flames in his mouth, with more rum making it even worse. "An apology? Get out of my way!" Callie stepped forward, and her foot went through a loose floorboard. She looked down through the open flooring and saw the orc in the cellar retrieving water. He glanced up and splooshed water all over her face. "More water?" he called out. "For the love of the great divines!" Callie worked with her foot to get it unstuck. "I'll get it. Hold still," the heckler exclaimed. "Wait, what?" Callie glanced up. The heckler had now produced a mandolin in his hand and was slamming it onto her foot. "Ah!" Callie got free and slammed back into a pillar. She fell forward, and her face got stuck in a bucket. "Stay still!" the heckler called out. In a moment, Callie felt the heckler slam the mandolin against her head, successfully breaking the bucket and almost knocking Callie out cold. The room was spinning. Flames were growing higher and higher. The orc bartender entered at last. "What the heck? Everyone out! The rum is gonna blow!" "What?" Callie exclaimed. She and the stranger looked down below to the flaming boards. Barrels and barrels of dragon's breath rum filled the cellar, now full of flames. Callie grabbed the stranger, threw him at Quill, and dove for behind a flipped table. Quill, the stranger, and Callie slammed into the side of the tavern. And then, boom, the cellar roared in a white flash, and suddenly, all went quiet. The world was dark. Ears were ringing. Callie felt cool drops of rain on her face. She slowly opened her sapphire eyes, seeing the blurry night sky. She slowly sat up and looked around. The tavern was leveled to the ground, and only smoldering embers now remained. 2 figures came over to Callie and helped remove the rubble from around her. You saved me!" The green-eyed stranger wrapped both arms around Callie. Quill was taking deep breaths and trying to compose himself while hoisting a beam of wood off Callie. "Are you okay?" he called out. I think so." Quill and the stranger dragged Callie away from the red glowing rubble. They all 3 collapsed to the ground in exhaustion. The stranger opened his mouth. "That was awesome! We blew up a tavern!" Quill scolded. "We blew up a tavern!" the stranger exclaimed excitedly. "We blew up a tavern," Callie mouthed in bewilderment. "Ha! That was incredible!" A hand appeared before Callie. She locked eyes on it and glanced up. She was met by the heckler's glowing green eyes. "I'm Boru," he said. "Boru the Bard. Pleasure to meet you." "A bard," Callie thought. "By the divines," she whispered. "How did this happen?" Quill exclaimed. Ha ha! Pure awesomeness, Boru yelled. 3 black Jimra's bad luck, Callie whispered. Blew up a tavern. As the sun rose in the east, and the destruction of the dragon's bite, this all marks the beginning of our unknown legend. The legend of catastrophe. This has been Catastrophe. If you like this kind of content, please follow for more. The legend continues.